So it is quite apparent that this iteration of Spider-Man coming at us for Spider-Man Homecoming in the MCU is going to be very different than the last two iterations that came from Sony. And the first and most obvious place to look at this is of course Spider-Man's suit, which of course made its big screen debut in Captain America Civil War. But now we actually have a few new interesting pictures that I got from a video that are going into breaking down this suit and what specifically makes it different for Spider-Man Homecoming and what separates it from the suits we've seen before. So first up, let's get into what we know. And of course, in Spider-Man's first appearance in Civil War, we actually see that he had a proto-suit. And of course, the next time we see Peter Parker, he is all suited up in the official suit, which was of course upgraded by Tony Stark. And this suit is the one we're of course going to be breaking down, as it's had a few upgrades by the time Homecoming rolls around. So first up, we are going to be looking at the brand new web shooters that Spider-Man has, which are of course located on the outside of his suit. And of course, two of the things that stand out is of course that he has selectable web types, which means he can probably do various different things with them. Obviously he can do the normal webbing, but I would assume much like in the old video games, he could do impact webbing, where he generally just shoots a big ball of web that explodes, and probably some other things like that we really aren't thinking of right off the top of our heads. Second up is obviously the standout right here that says laser targeting system. Now this isn't anything new, as we've seen something like this in the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon recently from Marvel themselves. And this one honestly makes a lot of sense when you think about it. If he really needs to get a precision shot, why wouldn't he have some sort of targeting system on there? And obviously since we can't see and doesn't look like it deploys itself, it's probably something that does pop up just like in the cartoon. Now another obvious one that we've seen, which was of course featured in the first trailer, is of course the Spider-Man web wings. Now Spidey fans should no doubt be familiar with these, as they were originally drawn on the costume when Spider-Man first hit the scene in the 60s. And of course these web wings are not used for flying, they are used as kind of a guided system for him to be able to just glide down to safety when he gets in trouble. In recent years in the comics he really hasn't used them, but I really won't be shocked if they make an appearance around the time that this movie comes out, you know, because everything has to have synergy. Now this next one is going to bring us back right above the web shooter. Now it says right here that the suit does have a GPS tracking system and a holographic wrist display. Now obviously holographic display, once again the shooter, you know, so he can actually hit something accurately, which would make a lot of sense. But the other thing obviously here with the holographic display would be a communications device, which honestly this wouldn't be too far-fetched, as we've actually seen this in the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon, and this is how they actually talk to each other. Now what isn't 100% clear is the GPS tracking system. Is this a system he has in there because of the Accords, they gotta track that he's not doing anything bad, or is this a GPS system he has built in here, and he has the little, you know, Spidey trackers that he sticks onto his enemies, and then he can bring up the GPS display and see where they went. I'm assuming it's the latter, but we don't really know. And of course, last up is the eyes, which of course are expressive. We saw this in Civil War, but obviously there is a reason for having these. As Pete is still getting used to his powers and how his Spidey senses work, everything is kind of coming in all at once. So the way they emote is so he can focus on certain things and only let a certain amount of info actually get to him so he's not overwhelmed. So they do have a practical application. So that is it guys, with all the features and the new highlights of the suit. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and as always, if you guys like Spider-Man, make sure you subscribe because we'll be talking way more about him in the coming months.